Hey y'all, this is Mike, AI5QK. I wanted to do a quick demo and show where I'm at with this K4 controller application that we've been putting together here. So it's written in C++ and Qt, and trying to replicate essentially the K4 interface as much as possible to have a remote app that's unified on both Mac and Windows. So my development machine is a Mac M4 Pro. And then the Windows machine, I've tested it on a Windows VM. It's running an ARM processor and it works fine. And I've also had KG5EIU, who's one of my buddies and coworkers, and he's helped me test it on a low power, low cost Windows 11 machine, just to make sure everything works and it's rendering and properly and it's not overly slowing things down. So let's take a look at one of the alpha builds that I just finished working on a little earlier. So this is what the interface looks like. You see the K4 trying to replicate as much as possible from the physical K4, and then made some small visual improvements that I thought would be helpful for a remote user. So let's go ahead and take a look at the connect. You can connect in over 9204 or 9205, so the prompts will update for you. Turn it on, turn it off right there. We'll go ahead and hit connect, and I will first, let me crank down the volume right as soon as I connect. So we'll do that. All right, so this is the interface. We got the spectrum and waterfall, as you can see here. We have our visual center frequency markers and the filter display. So looking at filter 2 right here in the center, and over here, some of the features I've added, we can click and drag. So as you can see, I'm dragging through here. Let's go ahead and play with the filter bandwidth and take a look up here. In the center, so you can see that blue icon changing. We can use the filter button, or we can adjust it on the left hand side. So let's go through the filter presets. So as you can see, I'm trying to replicate the filter changing. You can move your mouse wheel over the bandwidth or the shift to show the filters changing sizes, the width or the shift, sorry. So you can see that guy moving back and forth. Okay, we can one of the improvements I've made is I show the high and low being recalculated on the fly. Same for the mic and other settings in here. Blue indicators showing you that it's on the VFOA side. Have your B set down here. Click that, it turns it to green. You see the indicator light up here. See your green indicator there. You can see the filter changing shapes. Let's go ahead and put that down there. Let's go back to B set. All right, so as far as the buttons go, it'll be a left click. Your standard left click will kick off the button face here. A right click will give you the alternative or the alternate action. So if I were to right click on ATU tune, it turns on your tuner, and then a normal click, go ahead and tune. Okay. So I run a stepper here at the house, so at the QTH, so I'm not gonna leave that on. I'll just turn that off. You got your test mode, right? It's gonna appear up here above text, above the transmit. So we're gonna make some adjustments here, font size, and maybe make this a little more noticeable. You have the dual controls for your main and your sub receiver. Okay. We have the indicator showing you which waterfall you're currently looking at. I've added the plus and the minus for the adjustments for the waterfall and a center button. As you can see, I just clicked it. The K4 that I'm remoted into currently has the OFS knob set to, I think I have it set to zoom, or to, zoom in, zoom out. So moving my mouse wheel, flick and spin that mouse wheel, and it will go ahead and adjust for you. If I had that set to the alternate setting for pan, then it would have panned the waterfall and spectrum left and right like the K4. Changing modes, a couple of options there. You can click on data, or you can click on the A indicator or the B indicator, right? And it'll change the modes for the indicator that you're clicking on. Okay. All right. We have the preamp noise blankers, right? Some improvements I've done there was I've added the ability to show which level the setting has. So like for the attenuator, if I were to right click here, right? Again, these pop-ups, you can use your mouse wheel. So there you go. Okay. And then we will go ahead and turn that off by just clicking. You can click away anywhere. The same thing for your preamp. Okay. And that'll happen for the B side as well. So if I wanted to do that, I could click here. I can come in and turn off my APF by doing a right click since it's underneath here. Okay. For the notch filter, you can do the same thing. Turn that off. I have the mini pans set up as well. So as you can see, the mini pan is showing here, right? I'm in CW mode, but wanted to show the notch filter. So let's go ahead and turn on. I can do an auto notch, right? So we can just turn that off because you wouldn't be able to see that. So by turning on, the notch filter, well, I'm in data mode, or I'm on BSET mode, sorry. Turn that off. Let's go ahead and hit notch again. And we're in data mode. So let's turn that upper sideband. There you go. So you could see the notch right there popping up with auto notch, right? If I wanted to do a manual notch, what I could do is do the right click, right? And then I could say manual notch on. And you notice now I have an auto and a manual, right? And then I have an indicator showing where the manual is currently notching, and flicking the mouse wheel would show us the movement of that indicator, right? Click on the waterfall up here, and then you can also see that notch filter in more detail, in a more zoomed in view. So turn that off, and then if I wanted to, we can go and turn off that auto notch, right, by just clicking. The mini pans, you just click and it'll bring those on. You have your recalls and stores for the presets. So if I were to do something like a recall M2, it pulls me over to the settings I have for the 20 meter band for upper sideband. And then what I could do is do a recall for M1, and it'll take me to the presets I have set up for CW mode on 20 meters. Okay, let's show the XIT and RIT. I think I showed you the zoom in, zoom out, but here is, if I wanted to turn it on, I could turn it on here, right? And then you just move your mouse wheel while you're inside the box to adjust the placement or the frequency. So the other thing is I could turn it on and off from up here as well. So same thing, moving the mouse wheel. The rates work right now fine. So as you can see, the little rate indicator, I need to increase the font size, or the size of that indicator. It's a little too thin. The sub and diversity work. Okay. So we have sub mode on, and then I can kick on both waterfalls, right? Turning them off. Menus replicate the K4. Most of the changes, or most of the menu options, are going to apply to the remote K4, right? There's some that I've integrated, like this one right here. So if I were to change that, well, first let me show you what it's at. So right now I have it set to the S meter, but if I were to go back and change that to the other value, which is dBm, hit the plus, okay, back, went ahead and updated it. So those changes are taking place on that inside of the app and on the physical K4. You have your function, or sorry, your display. You can also use your mouse wheel here. Pan A, Pan B, right? Noise blanker, reference levels, your span, center. Yeah, I haven't done the averaging yet, but the dual waterfalls have been set up already. So if we go to display, as you can see, bouncing through those just by clicking, and it's cycling through. The waterfall has the percentage here as well. So using your mouse wheel, you can kind of see that moving. Pan A. Okay. Centers, reference levels, scale. So auto ref does work, turning it on and off, but I haven't finished building out the logic to manually adjust the reference level. You have push to talk, works fine. You have the ability to macros, right? So I can find a little open spot here, functions, and macro. There's your multifunction meter working. You have the ability to go in and screen cap, but it's going to take a screen cap locally on the K4. These buttons haven't been updated yet, but we go into the macros. That's where you set your macros. Here's your KPOD, KPOD 8T, so touch. We'll send my beacon. So what I can do is I'm running a KPOD here. You can see the settings under K4 controller option settings, and this is what I've built out so far, right? And as you can see, it's detecting the KPOD. So let's go ahead and move in the KPOD wheel. As you can see, my frequency and the indicators are moving. I'm going to go ahead and move it to B. There it is, B. Back to A. Go ahead and send the beacon real quick. There's nobody there. That's sending out. Okay. The bands, we have them here using the normal band stack. If you don't have B set up, it'll send it to the VFOA by default, and then you B set band, and it'll change the band for the VFOB. Your main RX. I haven't built out these. Those are coming maybe later this week. The antenna config and the RX EQ. AFX is done. Line out and VFO link are not. AGC is working, simple toggles. APF cycles through, on and off. Text decode needs the menu. Once this is done, I will replicate it for sub RX. So that'll be a real quick change once I finish. TX is not done, and style is something that I just use for testing. So that'll be removed in the final build. So basically just playing with different GPU gradients and shaders. This is set up to do GPU offload, so we're using Qt QRHI. It's using Metal on the back end for Apple, OpenGL on Windows. So what that means for the users is that if you went native Qt to do a similar task, it would probably be about 100% CPU utilization. So now that I've reconfigured everything, it splits it off to the GPU for the waterfall, spectrum, shaders, which I had to custom create, and it is sitting probably about 30%, and 30% CPU and 10% GPU. Okay, so adjustments, filters, I showed you that. Split mode, okay. B set, split, on, off. AB works, modes, brings up your modes here. Spot, auto spot, those all function just fine. Some of the other changes I think that people have not seen would have been, yes, the cursors, right? So I can turn those on and off, right? Except for B, because that's a new feature where I added the B cursor recently, and I need to link that to this indicator for VFOA. So that's a minor change. Let's see, what else? We did the waterfalls. Oh, direct frequency entry is something I'm working on. I don't really like how it turned out, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust that later. But you could directly enter the frequency and hit enter. If you want to get out of there, you would hit escape. Some other things were requested for macros. So I'm going to add the function keys below the KPOD. So that'll give the user the ability to press the function keys on their keyboard to send predefined macros. So you really don't have to touch the mouse or take your hands off the keyboard. If you wanted to send predefined macros for like contesting or something like that, you wouldn't have to reach for the KPOD either. You could keep your fingers on the keyboard. These are all functional. Okay. Preamp, noise blanker. Yeah, so this open space on the right hand side here, what we're going to do is integrate that the KPA 1500 with polling and the ability to send the commands to the KPA 1500. Thought process there is if you have an Elecraft K4, K4D, KPA 1500, let's go ahead and create a UI that offers a single cohesive view to operate your Elecraft environment remotely, right? So you'd be able to monitor your KPA 1500. You'd be able to send the KPA 1500 commands for tuner, antenna switches while you're transmitting. You can watch the KPA 1500. Granted, there's a separate KPA 1500 app, but since I was building this from sort of the ground up, I was really trying to think of what would I like to see inside of the app that would make it feel more like just a unified control center for Elecraft, right, to operate remotely. And that to me meant anything that's Elecraft should be in a single unified, color matched, color coded sort of pane of glass, right? So that's that was kind of my goal in designing this. The other thing was I noticed that there's just a lot of requests from the Windows users that they want an app that'll they can use a KPOD, they can operate remotely. There's a few out there, and they look great. I wanted to make one that kind of had my own sort of personal feel and personal touch, and this is sort of what what I've come up with. Now, for the most part, everything is going to stay where you see it. There's just minor changes. I may try to figure out some more efficient use of the space up here by allocating, getting rid of the center TX and maybe moving the A and the B to occupy in front of the frequencies up here. So that way the frequency displays can be pushed over and this space can be occupied by the frequency. And now we would have space in front of the frequency to allocate the A and B indicators along with their modes, right? So once these guys are gone, right, then I would move this sub and diversity sort of closer, maybe under here. And then that's going to free up this area right above the split. And the thought process there is, as you're operating, and if you have a KPA 1500, right, when it's enabled, you'll be able to have your meters and your gauges there. So you're looking at the same window, right, and then you'll still be able to look at your drive power, your ALC for these meters. But now we have the ability to see the state of the KPA 1500. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. Definitely open to feedback. And yeah, so that's what I've done so far. I think I showed you guys this right here, the rig control. So what I've created is I've let the app, or created the app to be its own sort of little cat server, or to create its own cat server. And then the reason for that was people had requested, I want to run a digital, or I wanted to point by logger at something, right? So that way it can track frequency as I'm operating. And let's say that you don't have a K40 or you are operating away from home with the software, right? How would I go about doing that, right? And this is what I sort of came up with, looking at what's out there and what the capabilities are. So right now I'm using it's the not the black hole driver, but I'm using the loopback driver for Mac, and there's other ones for Windows, but that allows me to route the audio from an external program and from my app to that external program. So as you can see here, these are my settings. And then I'm going to show you how this worked. So what we'll do is we'll just open up WSJTX and we'll go ahead and show you what those settings look like. Preferences, radio. So I'm connecting to localhost, right? So I'm connecting to myself on this port, which is the same port that I had configured in my K4 controller software. That lets WSJTX control the software to determine when to do a push to talk to send the audio, right? So the timing can work. So for the sound card, we're using the loopbacks, right? The loopback created sound card devices. So what we'll do is we'll kick him on monitor mode here, and then we'll turn up this volume because this main volume is controlling what's coming in and out of loopback. So as we increase our main volume here, what we should see is back over here on WSJTX, you should see that waterfall start coming in WSJTX. Okay. Now, so one of the other things that we'll do is just so you guys can see what this looks like. We're in data mode. Let's increase this bandwidth to about 32. Let's shift him to about center. Okay. And the other thing we'll want to do is let's bounce over here to the FD8 section. Now I do have cat control. I'm not sure why I just did this manually, but let's click here. We'll go back, and we will open WSJTX's window here, and we'll say take me to 20 meter, right? And what should happen is this should have sent the cat command to take me to the FT8 mode. But as you can see, I'm hitting some sort of bug that maybe didn't present itself earlier. So let's show you this instead, and then I'll go back and track down why that didn't work. So here's 20 meters. Here are the decodes coming in. There's my level. The level is directly correlated to the main, right? So as you can see, all these decodes are coming in right now. So functional, right? And if I wanted to, or I can show you a real quick tune. And what should happen is you should see the indicators here light up as this K4 goes into transmit mode. So there you go. So we have two-way audio working for both modes, for data, or for all modes, I should say. We're using the loopback audio driver. Getting decodes, it looks fine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Excuse me. We'll turn off subreceiver here. But what's interesting is that WSJTX should have sent that cat control. So we'll need to take a look at that. 4532, that's enabled. WSJTX one more time. And let's try a different band. So let's try 18. There it goes. So maybe I have a small timing issue that I need to investigate, but as you can see, now we have this working. So I'll go back. Yeah, so there we go. So we're not using Hamlet, we're connecting natively to the port that I'm creating, which accepts all the standard cat commands for the most part. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. And next update, I'll probably have some of the stuff that you see up here in the center reorganized. And I hope to have the menus built out for the antenna and RX EQ and the decoding. So before anybody asks, the on-box decoding for any of the PSK modes, I have not started that yet. So the filter indicators aren't going to align and work properly. Neither are the filter pass bands for those modes. FM and AM I already did, but it's coming along well. No major hurdles. Thankful to Elecraft that they really let us control what we needed to control for this sort of app development. I think the biggest problem, or not problem, but biggest ask is really we need to get that IQ out over LAN, for purposes of creating some more advanced noise reduction techniques, potentially doing things around multiple antennas and having the ability to at least attempt to do some sort of advanced like noise reduction where we're nulling out the signals. I'd love to see that incorporated, at least on the radio side, so that way, I can do something with it or try to do something with it in here in the app. But thanks for watching. That's all I have for now. This is AI5 QK.